Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, today we will start from suppliers module. Now we have created the supplier master files. I'll quickly go through how to create a supplier. Go to suppliers, list of suppliers, click add a supplier. From here, you can enter supplier name, supplier category, and if you have any opening balances, you can enter opening balance and opening balance as a date. And under credit limit, you can enter credit limit. Under tax reference, you can enter supplier's tax reference or tax number. From auto allocate payments, you can allocate your supplier payments to oldest invoices. You can enter supplier postal address, supplier delivery address or physical address. Under contact details, you can enter supplier's contact names, email address, telephone numbers, mobile numbers, and supplier web address and business registration numbers. Under default settings, you can enter default discount. If your supplier giving regular discounts, you can enter discount here. And if your supplier is a tax registered supplier, you can select the relevant tax rate. Due date for payment. Here you can enter number of days if your supplier giving credit period for you. Then currency, you can select supplier's currency. If supplier is a foreign supplier, you can select that relevant supplier currency. Then under additional contacts, you can enter the supplier's contacts in addition to these contact details. Right. Then under banking details, you can enter supplier's bank details. Notes, you can enter any notes, and user defined fields, you can enter additional details in addition to these details. Then if you have any different purchase order formats, you can select purchase order format here. Right. Next, supplier categories. You can create supplier categories from here by clicking this add category. Supplier category mainly used for reporting purposes. You can categorize your suppliers based on your supplier's area or product brand, uh, then wholesale, retail suppliers, like that. You can categorize your suppliers. Right. Next, today we will start from supplier transactions. First, we will start from supplier purchase orders. Right. You can now when you want to order goods from your suppliers, you can raise a purchase order and you can deliver that purchase orders to your suppliers. To enter purchase orders, go to suppliers, transactions, supplier purchase orders. After that, click add purchase order. Right. Now, in this screen, we can enter our purchase order items. Now, you can order goods or services from your suppliers. Those details you can enter here. First, you need to select supplier. After you select the supplier, you can see that supplier's balances, any outstanding you have, you can view that supplier balance. And it's supplier is a tax registered supplier, you can view supplier's tax number or tax reference number. And here you can view supplier's credit limit and postal address and physical address. These purchase order numbers generated by system. you can set these numbers from company settings. Go to company, change company settings, document and statements, document numbers. From here, you can add your new document number. Once you set this number, system will continue that purchase order number. Here you cannot change that from this screen. You cannot change the purchase order number. If you want to change the purchase order number, you can change it from this company settings. Next, order number. Now sometimes you may request pricing from that supplier. So if you have any document or quotation you received from supplier, you can enter that reference number here. Next, layout. If you are using different layout, now for an example, you may use tax purchase order formats for your tax registered suppliers, and non-tax registered non-tax suppliers, you will use a different format. In that case, you can select the relevant purchase order from here. Relevant purchase order layout you can select from here, or when you are creating the supplier also, you can set that purchase order layout. Date is today's date. Then delivery date, you can select delivery date from here. Now if you want goods in another week's time, you can select 7 days, or you can select June 9th. Then supplier will deliver your goods on this date. Then discount, you can remember when we are creating supplier, we can add default discount. I'll open this supplier. Right. When we are creating this supplier, we have given default discount as 25%. Therefore, that discount percentage will appear here under discount. Now, when you enter any item, system will calculate 25% discount for all items. Right? You can see here, system will calculate 25% discount. Right. Now, when you are creating the supplier, you will set this default discount. If you want, you can change this discount percentage when you are processing the transaction. Right. After that, you can enter your items here. You can select items and you can enter quantity. If you have set tax rate, system will display those tax rates. And if you want to allocate this purchase order to any analysis code, you can select from here. Right. Like that, you can enter your purchase order. After you enter this purchase order, you can save, or you can email, or you can print this purchase order. if you email this purchase order, will you can directly send to your supplier, and supplier will process that purchase order. Right. Now you can enter purchase order. Okay, like this, you can enter your purchase order. Now, for an example, if you are ordering goods to your faculty or department, you can enter purchase order like this. And you can enter lines. You can add lines from by clicking this plus mark. And if you want to remove any line, by clicking this delete line, you can delete line. And there's a comment, this line available. Now for an example, if you are ordering stationery or any item, you want a specific brand, or you want to add any comment to your that item. For an example, if you are ordering A4, you can you can mention required brand, like that. If you want to add additional details for that line, by clicking this file mark, then a new line will appear. Here you can add your comment. Okay, now if you want any specific brand, or if you want sizes, you want to mention the sizes, you can use this comment line. Then this comment line will display in the display in your purchase order. Right. Next, use inclusive amounts. Now, if your supplier is a tax registered supplier, if you want to mention that inclusive price with tax amount, you can tick this use inclusive amount. Then system will display inclusive amount or with tax amount. If you want to view exclusive amount, you can untick this option. Next one, use last purchase order detail. If you are regularly ordering goods from your suppliers, you can, by clicking this use last purchase order details, you can copy previous order details here. Now for an example, if you are ordering stationery, you are always ordering A4, pen, pencil, uh, other markers like that to have specific order. So if you want to get same order again, you can by clicking this use last purchase order detail, you can recall, or you can copy previous order to the screen. So without entering those item and quantities again, you can automatically pop up that purchase order to this screen. Next, message. If you want to add any details here, uh, any details to purchase order, you can use this message, and you can set a default message here. Now, when we are setting company settings, we have set that document messages. Supply document messages. Now here we have set please deliver under purchase order. That uh, message will display here. You can set any uh, supply document message here, and when you are processing transaction, that message will display here. Now if you want to, now you are ordering stationery, you want to mention uh, please deliver to that, you can mention your faculty and deliver to this place. Those details you can add here, or in the purchase order you can mention. Then these details will print in the your purchase order, and supplier can deliver goods according to your instructions. Right. Now after you enter this purchase order, you can preview your message. Right, you can enter these details and these remarks you can view. There are a few purchase order formats you can select any purchase order format and you can preview your purchase order. Right now you can see this comment here and delivery instructions, and also from report layout designer you can design your purchase order. There are few purchase orders layouts available. You can select those layout, and if you want you can modify that purchase order formats. Right, next after you enter that your purchase orders, you can view your purchase order details, supplier name, document number, order number, tax reference, date, delivery date, total discount. These details you can view, and you can view number of purchase orders. And if you want to customize this grid, you can customize from by clicking this customize grid. You can tick required columns and you can untick if you want to remove any column. And if you want to search any purchase order, you can type that word or amount here and you can search. And from here you can filter purchase orders. And later if you want to open any purchase order by clicking this purchase order number, you can open that purchase order. Right, now we will discuss these options. First I'll change this price to 15,000. Right, now in options, first one, purchase order history. Now from this purchase order history we can view who entered this transaction, date, user. Now here today we have created this purchase order and I have edited that amount, then system will display edited action as edited and date, user. Right. If you want to view any purchase order history, you can go to transactions. And from these options, you can view your purchase order history. Next, show user-defined fields. Now, if you want to add additional details to this purchase order, you can add user-defined fields. You can add those user-defined fields from here. Company settings, user-defined fields, document and transactions. From here, from supplier purchase orders, if you want, you can rename these labels. Now here I have changed first user defined field to delivery charges. Therefore this label display as delivery charges. If you want to change these label names, you can change from here. Next, document attachment. If you want to attach any document for this purchase order, By clicking this attachment, you can attach that document, and those attachments, uh, maximum 5 attachment you can attach, and those files should not exceed 2 MB. Right. Next, confirm. Now you want to order items from your supplier. You have send your purchase order to your supplier. After supplier receive your purchase order, they will accept or confirm your purchase order, or if they don't have those items, they will cancel, or if they have goods, they will deliver. Then there are 3 status: confirm, cancel, and invoice. If your supplier confirm your order, you can confirm your purchase order. And if they don't have, if your supplier doesn't have that items, they will cancel your order. In that case, you can cancel your purchase order. And if you want to, if they send the goods to you, you can invoice this purchase order. Now, first we will confirm this order. Right. Now you can view that there are few status: overdue, that is you have delivery date, they haven't still send that send goods to you. Then confirm means your supplier has confirmed your order. And if your supplier cancel your order, you can change purchase order status to cancel. And if they send goods to you, you can invoice that purchase order. Next, copy purchase order. If you want to copy same purchase order, you can click this copy purchase order, and you can copy previous purchase order. Next, create invoice. If you want to convert this purchase order, you can convert this purchase order to your convert to supplier invoice. Right. Now you can check these options, and you can change the prices or items and check that your purchase order history. And if you want to confirm your orders, you can practice these options. Okay, you can take 5 minutes and you can practice these options. Okay, like that you can enter your supplier purchase order. Now assume you have ordered goods, or you have ordered goods from your supplier and they have sent the goods with the invoice to you. Now after you receive goods, you can enter supplier invoices. Go to suppliers, transactions, supplier invoices. Click add supplier invoice. Now, in practical situations, sometimes you may send a purchase order and uh, you may order goods, or you directly purchase goods for your requirement. Now, assume you without sending a purchase order, you will purchase goods from your supplier. That case, you can select your supplier. Here, you can add supplier invoice number, your supplier's invoice number, and after you select supplier, you can view these details: credit limit, uh, postal date, postal address, physical address, and if your supplier is giving any credit period, you can view as due date. Now here, this supplier giving 30 days credit period, therefore this due date is after 1 month. And if this supplier giving discount, you can view the discount, and from here you can select items, your purchase items. You can select, and quantity also you can enter. If price is different, you can enter your new price. And if tax available, you can select that tax rate, and from this analysis code you can select analysis code, and you can process this supplier invoice. Right, now when you are select items, you can view the price. Actually, purchase price we cannot enter, but if you have entered any purchase orders previously or supply invoice previously, that last purchase price uh, will display here. System will pick this price from last supplier invoice. Okay, and you can view or you can enter inclusive price or exclusive price, and if you have previous supplier invoices, you can copy from previous supplier invoice. And for these items also, now for an example, if this supplier giving warranty period for this supplier, this item, you can enter warranty period here. Then after later you can view what is the warranty period for this item. Right, like this you can enter supplier invoice, and you can save. Okay, sometimes now in practical situation, you may directly purchase, or you will send purchase order, and you will convert that purchase order to supplier invoice. Right. If you already send purchase order, you can select supplier here, and from this supplier invoices, select the supplier. After you select the supplier, you can view from purchase order. If you have already entered any purchase order, you can select that purchase order. Then you can copy that purchase order item details to this supplier invoice. Okay, then again, no need to enter items, quantities, and pricing. You can directly copy from purchase order to invoice, and you can save this supplier invoice. Right. After you enter supplier invoices, that items will debit and supplier or trade payable will credit. Okay, from this supplier invoice, after you enter supplier invoice, your item will inventory value will increase and supply balance also increase. But in this supplier purchase orders, there's no any GL transactions, only it's only a document. Okay, now you can supply invoice. You can enter two supply invoices. One is converting from previous purchase order, and you can directly enter one supplier invoice. Okay, like that, you can enter supplier invoices. Now, assume you are purchasing goods from foreign supplier. Then, when you are enter items, you can view that pricing in that supplier's currency. And here you can view that balance and credit limit, those things you can view customer's currency. And actually, this is Singapore dollar. Uh, you can enter exchange rate here. Now, from the system will display that exchange rate. And if you want to change the exchange rate, you can change it from here. If you select foreign suppliers, system will display pricing in supplier's currency, and you can view exchange rate. And if you are if your exchange rate is different rate, you can change it from here. And also, when you are ordering or when you are purchasing goods, you can select this item as type. Then you can remember that bundle items. If when we are discussing, when we are creating items, we have created bundle items. If you want to purchase bundle item, you can change this type to bundle. Then those prices will display here. Right. Next, now assume you want to, we'll open new one. Now, in types, you can view item, account, and bundle. If you select item, you can view under selection, you can view your stock items. And if you select account, you can view your GL accounts from this selection. And if you select bundle, you can view your bundle items in selection. Now, if you want to purchase inventory items, you can select this item and you can select item. And sometimes you may purchase services. For an example, that your telephone bills, then utility bills, water, electricity. Those, if you receive those bills, or if you receive monthly water bill, electricity bill, or telephone bill, you can add directly to your GL account. Okay, from here you can select type, account as type. Then from selection, you can select your electricity expenses, and you can enter that amount. If you are if you want to enter your water bill, you can select water expenses here. Or if you want to add telephone expenses, you can enter your telephone expenses. Right. Okay, like that, you can change your item type or type. You can change type to item, account, or bundle. And from selection, you can select items or GL accounts or your bundle item. Right. Next, assume you are purchasing, you have a company to buying and selling computers. Now here you are buying computers from your supplier. right? Now you are purchasing or you are importing computers from a foreign country. Now when you are purchasing that your computers, you may have clearing charges, transport charges, insurance charges may be attached with this purchase. Okay. Now, if when you are purchasing from foreign country, you may have clearing charges, transport charges, and other insurance charges may be different charges may uh, you have to pay when you are purchasing goods from outside or when you are importing. Uh, in addition to that, if you want to add those expenses to this item, you can use this at additional cost, right? Now, when you are purchasing, sometimes when you are purchasing stationery, that supplier will deliver to you, or sometimes when you are purchasing goods, you have to incur expenses such as uh, transport charges, clearing, insurance, and those expenses you want to allocate to your item cost. Okay, if you want to allocate those additional costs, you can use this additional cost, and from here you can select your supplier, and you can enter that expenses. For an example, uh, for transport, you have to pay 15,000. Then if you add those additional costs, it will allocate to these items. Okay, and when you are generating that your inventory report, in addition to this item value, these additional costs also allocate to that item. Okay, now we have 15,000 transport, insurance 20,000. Those additional costs will allocate to this item, right? Uh, After that, you can view that total additional cost and cost allocated to this item. Now here, computer 10 quantities and one unit price is 50,000, total 500,000, and you have additional transport and insurance expenses. Those additional expenses you can allocate to your items. Okay. Now from here you can view total additional cost and your item price. You can save this uh, supplier invoice. Okay, and if you have entered credit limit, now this supplier credit limit is 500,000. Uh, now our balance is 575,000. System will ask, you want to proceed this credit limit is exceeding and you want to continue. If you want to continue, you can select yes, and you can save this supplier invoice, right? After you enter your supplier invoices, you can view those supplier invoices from here. Supplier name, document number, supplier invoice number, date, due date, anticipated payment date, total, those things you can view from here. Okay, next we will move to supplier allocate payments. Now when you are entering payments, you can select your supplier outstanding invoice, or sometimes you may forget to select the relevant supplier invoice, or sometimes in practical situation you may pay advance amount to supplier, and after that you enter supplier invoice. And if you are paying supplier advance, you cannot select uh, invoice, because still you haven't received the invoice, therefore you cannot select the invoice. And in that case, when you are generating your supplier outstanding reports, system will display that payments as minus, and invoices as plus. Now here you can see there are several payments and invoices available. That payments will display here because we haven't select when we are doing the payment, we haven't select the supplier invoice. Therefore system will display that payment and invoice separately. Okay, now when you are entering supplier payment, you can select supplier invoices, but if you are paying advance payment, or uh, if you forget to select any supplier invoice, system will not set off that supplier invoice. Therefore it will display payment and invoice separately. And if you generate this kind of report, it's very lengthy, and you cannot get the actual uh, or you cannot get the actual picture of this supplier, because there are several payments and invoices. Therefore you need to allocate that your payments to invoices. Okay, now from here we can allocate our payments to invoices. Now you can see here uh, your invoices, your supply invoices. This side, right side, you can view unallocated payments. Now if you want to allocate uh, your payments to invoices, you can drag and drop this supplier payment to supplier invoice. You can click drag and drop, then you can view this that 8,100 will not display right side, and this due amount also reduced to 34,700. Now initially it's 42,800. After you allocate, it will reduce to due amount reduced to 34,700. Like that you can allocate your unallocated items. If you have any payments or supplier returns, you can allocate like this. The main purpose of this payment allocation is, when you are generating your supply outstanding report, it will display a very lengthy report, and you cannot get the actual picture about your supplier outstanding. Therefore you need to settle, or you want to allocate your payments to supplier invoices. Like this you can allocate. Now when you are allocating, you can see first initially it's red color, and if you are dropping to any if you select any invoice, it will change to green. Now initially it's red, it will change to green, and you can drag and drop to this invoice. And by mistakenly if you select a different invoice, you can again drag and drop this payment to right side. Okay, like that you can allocate your payments. You can allocate payments from by selecting this your supplier and refresh, then system will display. Left side it will display outstanding invoices, right side it will display uh, supplier payments and supplier returns. Now there are few options. First one, show outstanding only. There's a tick, and if you untick this option, system will display already settled invoices also. Now you can check this here. Due amount here, due amount for 2,800. Here due amount is 0. That means it has already allocated. Now by clicking this plus mark, you can check what are the invoices payments allocated to this invoice. Here also total invoice value is 978 cents 51. Due amount is 0. That means we have allocated this payment 1007 to this invoice. Okay, like this. If you want to view only outstanding invoices, you can tick this option, and if you want to view all invoices, you can untick this option. Right. Then after that, there are 3 display options. First one, all invoices. If you select all invoices, system will display all outstanding invoices. Second option is invoices between. If you select invoices between, and you can select date range from date to date, then system will display only that range invoices only. If you select all invoices, system will display all outstanding invoices. And if you select second option, and if you select date range, system will display only that date range invoices. Then third option, specific invoice number. You can enter specific invoice number. Then system will display only that invoice. Right. Then there's another option, split unallocated item amount. Now sometimes assume you have few outstanding invoices, and one payment you are allocating more than one transaction. Now for an example, we have 50,000 payment here, and we are allocating 20,250 to this invoice, or sorry, 25,000 to this invoice, and 25,000 to this 130 invoice. Okay, we have 50,000 payment. We are allocating 25,000 to this 127 invoice, and 25,000 to 130 invoice. If you are allocating one payment to more than one invoice, you can take this split unallocated item amount, and you can drag and drop that payment to this invoice. When you are drag and drop, system will open new window. From here you can enter allocating amount. Now we are allocating only 25,000. Right. Then system will that due amount will reduce to 475,000, and we can allocate balance 25,000 to this 130 invoice. From here also we can enter paying amount. Right. Now it has reduced, the due amount reduced to 350,000. Okay, if you want to allocate one payment to more than one invoice, you can select you can use this split unallocated item amount. Then when you are allocating, system will ask that how much you want to allocate. You can enter that amount, and you can allocate. or if you want to allocate 5,000 this invoice and balance 20,000 for this invoice, you can allocate that also. Like that, you can allocate one payment to more than one invoice. And when you are after you allocate, so you have allocate 10,000, balance amount of that payment also you can view as unused. Now we have allocated 10,000. The total payment amount is 50,000. We have allocated 10,000. Unused amount is 40,000. Okay, and by clicking this plus mark, you can view that allocated payment details, payment voucher number and payment amount. Right, now you can practice this option. Go to suppliers, transactions, allocate payments. You can drag and drop from left side to right side to left side. Okay, if you couldn't allocate your payments to your invoices, or if you have paid advance payments, you can use these allocate payments for uh, set off your outstanding invoices, and uh, you you can use this allocate payments to uh, settle your payments to invoices. Okay, there are three options. First one, all invoices. If you select all invoices, you can view all outstanding invoices. And if you select invoices between, you can select date range and view invoices. And specific invoice number, if you enter that invoice number, you can view that invoice only. And if you tick this show outstanding only, system will display only outstanding invoices. If you untick this option, system will display settled invoices also. And by clicking this plus mark, you can view your allocated payment details. And from split unallocated amount, if you want to allocate one payment for more than one invoice, you can split your payment to that invoices, outstanding invoices. Right. In left side, it will display supplier invoices, and right side it will display supplier payments, supplier returns, and supplier invoices, which is reduce your supplier balances. Right. Next, we will move to supplier adjustments. Now, from this supplier adjustments, you can use sometimes after audit or any your after if your management decision, sometimes you may need to change your supplier balances, or sometimes now for an example, uh, if your transaction, that transport or any other expenses, when you are purchasing goods, you have to incur your transport expenses, but by mistake you have allocated to your suppliers, but sometimes it may not, or by mistakenly you have allocated your transport or insurance expenses to your suppliers without allocating to your expenses. In that case, you need to change your supply balances. For change your supply balances, you can use this supply adjustments. Go to suppliers, transactions, supplier adjustments. Okay, and click add supplier adjustment. From here, you can select your supplier. And after you select your supplier, you can view your supplier balances, and from effect you can increase or decrease your supplier balance. Okay, you can increase or decrease your supplier balance. Then tax type, if tax is available, you can select that tax type. Then next one, by affecting, from here you can select which account you are adjusting this supplier adjustment. Now, for an example, if you are increasing your supplier balance, you need to debit to your expense account. And if you are decreasing your supplier adjustment, you can select your supplier invoice. Now, for an example, uh, by mistake, you have added that your transport expenses to this supplier. Therefore, you want to reduce that. Assume 15,000 you have allocated to this supplier invoice, and you need to remove from that 15,000 from supplier invoice, and you need to allocate to transport expenses. In that case, you can select decrease, and from here you can select your transport expense, traveling and accommodation, and here you can enter that adjustment amount, right? And you can select this invoice also, and is there any reference number, you can enter reference number, and you can enter description here, right? uh, from here, supply adjustment, you can increase or decrease your supply adjustment, sometimes due to audit entries, or sometimes due to user errors, you need to adjust your supply balances. In that case, you can use this supply adjustment, and from effect you can increase or decrease your supply balances. If you select increase, you can enter this increase amount, and if you select decrease, you can view is there any outstanding invoices. Okay, if you select increase, you cannot view unpaid invoices. If you select decrease, you can view unpaid invoices. Then you can enter amount, and you can select your supplier invoices. Like this, you can enter your supplier adjustments. And if you want to select any analysis code, you can, by clicking this analysis code, and you can select your analysis code. Then you can view unallocated amount. If you select invoice, you can view unallocated amount is 0. Okay, like this, you can adjust your supplier adjustment, or you can adjust increase or decrease your supplier balances. After enter that, you can process this transaction. Furthermore, there are actually two options. First one, add supplier invoice. If you select add supplier invoice, you can at once you can enter only one supplier, and if you select quick integrate, you can change supply balances, more than one supply balances you can change. Like this, you can enter amount, like this, you can select more than one supplier. From here you can select affecting account, and if any analysis code available, you can select that analysis code. Okay, now you can enter supply adjustments. Go to suppliers, transactions, supplier adjustments. Okay, you can add supplier adjustment like that, and if you want you can import supplier adjustments also. You can download the example. You can fill you can fill your supplier adjustment details here, and you can import to system. Right. Now we have completed supplier transaction up to supplier adjustments. Now this output tax adjustment and input tax adjustment currently not linked in Sri Lanka. Therefore, supplier transaction we will do only up to supplier adjustments. Okay. If you have any questions up to now, you can ask. Okay, then next session we will do it that layout designer downloading again. And if you can, if you please, if you can download Anydesk, then we can log in via Anydesk, and we can check the issue. Okay, and if you have any questions, you can ask between that break time or before or after the session. Okay. Thank you very much. Please practice these transactions. And if you have any questions, please ask in next session. Okay. Thank you very much. Stay safe. Okay. We will wind off for today. Next session, we will start from supplier reports.